في شرق أوروبا وفي آسيا وفي أفريقيا والثورات التي تتم الآن. هذا السؤال نسأله: ماذا يريد البرادعي من الجيش المصري؟ البرادعي له تصريحات غريبة ومريبة على الجيش المصري، لكن قبل ما نشوف دوت هنشوف كلام عن البرادعي غربي، مش احنا اللي بنقوله، ما نقولش ان احنا المصريين مش عارفين.
مترجم ولا مش
مترجم؟ لا مترجم. يا ريت ان شاء الله نشوف الفيديو دوت.
شوفوا يا استاذ عماد بعد اذنك.
For joining us on this live Sunday edition. All right, I want to calmly now walk through the situation in Egypt. Let me get into the big news here. As this started throughout the week, I had a lot of listeners calling in saying, oh, I bet it's George Soros, I bet it's our government overthrowing another country. Because the CIA admits they've overthrown well over 100 countries in the last 65 years since they've been around. And before that, the OSS. And a lot of times they do it to democracies, they do it to tyrannies, they do it to dictatorships, they do it to leftist regimes, right-wing regimes. If the dictator doesn't just basically sign their entire country over to the globalist, doesn't accept their entire agenda, then they're overthrown. And a lot of times, even though they serve them, they're overthrown in the toilet. Hosni Mubarak, to put out and to put into power Mohammed el-Baradi, who they admit is a United Nations George Soros minion, who's the former head of the IAEA at the UN, the Nuclear Weapons Regulatory Group. And I've got the whole breakdown on him: Director General, International Atomic Energy Agency, New York Law School, CIA trained. I mean, his whole background is public. And he shows back up the week before all this starts in Egypt and starts going around saying, I'm ready to be your leader. And it turns out the Egyptian military is bought and paid for by the U.S. and Israel. This is on record. And is basically standing down, unless they try to burn some of the museums, are standing down while the people run around and loot. And here's the London Telegraph. Egypt protest. America's secret backing for rebel leaders behind uprising. It continues. Egyptian opposition leader calls on Mubarak to leave today. And who is that? This is the new puppet, the UN puppet. Because there's one thing Mubarak hadn't done. He refuses to force sterilize people. And they've had UN population summits. He's been criticized. He refuses to sterilize and bring in abortion. Now, you better believe that el-Baradi will. So, Mubarak loves to torture, kill, slaughter, total dictator. Our government's got its torture sites there, loves him, but he isn't good enough. He isn't good enough. He doesn't hate his people enough. And so, Mohammed el-Baradi, the Pied Piper of Egyptian revolt, Paul Joseph Watson, that's from Friday, his report up there. And, of course, on Friday, he also reported on the George Soros connection. But now Axelrod's bragging that el-Baradi is their man. We've got another report by the LRC blog, Egypt's Rose Revolution, similar to what happened in Georgia. There's another report here. Egypt is another Soros color revolution. Soros, of course, funded rebellions and takeovers all over Eastern Europe and into Central Asia on the belly of Russia.
بالتالي واضح بالصوت